Hi, thanks for watching this video. This is on project scheduling using Excel. This is great for people who do not have a Microsoft project. This is a really great way to do small activities or via large activities if you wish. This is a great tool to see how you need to plan out your projects, and you can see what are your critical activities and see how long basically it'll take. And then we're going to actually add a feature on the bottom to where you can put all these numbers to a date. The first thing you need is an activity. We have a column with activities here, and all you have to do is just type in activity or type in what you need. Nothing special here, and type in your letters A. Actually, let's do that. I don't want that. B, C, and we're going to use all the way to H. Alright, and to create this underline here, what we're basically going to do is go up to your borders, and from there we're going to go down to thick bottom border, and that basically gets you your thick bottom border. The next thing you need is an activity's immediate predecessor. That's basically the activity that is required for this activity to start. As you can see here, A and B are basically our starting activities. Alright. And from there, what we're going to do is have, what we're going to do is do that for each activity. So if you know what your immediate predecessor is to start your activity, this is where you put it. And here I just got a place. This is basically going to be our error time, and I'll explain that later. That's going to be our time, and this one over here is going to be our error time, and I'll explain this. So for now, let's look at the time, and I'll highlight that so we'll know what to look at. Alright, I'm actually going to highlight it with yellow. So right now, this right here is our time that we know exactly how much time it's going to take for each activity. So activity A takes 4 days, activity H 8 days, so you get the drift. So in order to make this work, we need to start with activities A and B, and we need to know their early start times. This is basically the earliest time that an activity can start. This is the latest time that an activity can start. This is the earliest time that it can finish, and this is the latest time that an activity can finish. So we got here early start, early finish, late finish, activity time. Alright, and from there we have something called our slack. This slack basically tells us how long we can delay the start of a project before it affects our whole project, and I will later show why this is a valuable thing to know. And over here we have something what we like to call our critical activities. These basically are telling us that these have no slack. They have to be done on time, on the early start, same as your late start, no slack. Alright, so as you can see here, A is a critical activity that has to start on time. You're like, but it's the beginning activity, it has to start. Not necessarily. B is also an activity, and as you can see, it's not a critical, so we can start it on the first day, or we can start it a day after. We can start no later than a day after the project start date. So now I'm going to explain how we are able to do this using charts, graph, and boxes. These boxes look nice, they look cute and pretty, and you're like, I don't want to do this, so we're basically I'm going to show you how to do one, and how you can do one, do all, the same adage. First thing is we need 6 boxes, so let's take just a random 6 boxes here. Alright, and I am going to go do all borders. So I went to the borders tabs, I'm going to select all borders. Alright, and from there what we're going to do is start with the top left, which is our activity letter. So we're going to go activity letter A. Alright, and from there what I'm going to do is here to get the colors, I'm going to introduce people to Format Painter, and that's basically I want this could look like my early starts, because this is basically, this box is my early start box. So I'm just going to click on this, go to Format Painter, click on this box, there I go. And what I'm going to do next is do the same thing here. So I'm just going to do this for each box. And this box is what we like to call our early finish. This is an early finish box. Format Painter, there we go. This box here is our activity time. This is just going to be left white, normal. This right here is our late start box. So we're going to click on the late start box. We're going to click Format Painter and click the box we want to copy, and there we go. And this one is going to be our late finish box. So from here we just go late finish. We click on a late finish box in 1, Format Painter. We're going to click that. There we go. As you can see, it got rid of my borders. I'm not going to fear. I'm just going to select this whole thing, or I'll select these, or I can select the whole box and do the exact same thing I did. But since I selected it before, it's already selected here, so I'm just going to click it. So now we have other boxes, but all we have to do now is just click this box. You guessed it, Format Painter. And then from there, we're just going to click on that. We don't have to click on select the whole thing, just one, and it paints just like it did the next. And we're going to name this B, and there we have it. Alright, so that's how you create our boxes. Oh, and to get our boxes here, just select a whole thing. I'm going to show way over here somewhere. Alright, and I'll go back, and I'm just going to select, you basically select the whole columns, or the columns you want, right click, column width, and we select our width. From there, let's try 5.5, and as you can see, everything got changed. So that's how you can make your boxes. Okay, so without even starting, your early finishes, these are going to be 0. Okay, but I'm not going to restart. What I'm basically going to show you is I'm going to escape, and we start with boxes A and B. So what we're going to do is make something called a forward pass. We're going to start with our first activities and work our way. Now the forward pass is basically filling in your early start and your early finish, which is the top boxes here. Alright, so for the first 2 activities, you get your early start, this box, basically by 0. These are your first activities. We're going to put 0 there. Okay, and from here, what we're going to calculate is our early finish. Basically, your early finish is your early start plus your activity time. So we're just going to go equals. Okay, we're going to go equals. Let's see. We're going to go equals this box plus that box, and enter, and that's going to give you your early finish. Alright, and for B we do the same thing. So our early finish is going to equal our early start plus our activity time of 7. Alright, equal. And it's imperative that you do the boxes, don't hard code, and I'll show you guys why in a little bit. Alright, and from there you do C, and from C, because C is not a starting activity, to get its early start, we basically go to its early start box, and if you look, we're basically going to go equals. Now to start C, or C basically relied on A and B, so to start C, it basically relies on the finish of A and B, or the maximum finish. So we're just going to go to maximum finish, and we're going to click on the early finishes of A and B. Alright. Oh. Alright, so as you can see, we have 8 here. So this basically took the maximum because it's going to start the latest. It needs 2, so it's basically going to be the latest of the activity that takes the longest. So it's the max of these 2 predecessors. And you calculate the early finish the same way. Alright, and that's going to be your early start box plus your activity time box. And C, D and E are the same way. If you go over, D has an immediate predecessor of C, and E has an immediate predecessor of C. So to get their early start times, you basically just go the maximum value of its predecessor, which is only 1, but I still did equals max of C, and that gives you 23. Alright, so we keep doing this forward for each activity, okay, as you see. And once we go and get all the way to H is done the same way, and it basically gets the maximum or the largest of the earliest finish of its predecessors F and G. And basically this is going to give you 52, its earliest finish, and this is basically the time it takes to complete your project. Alright, but however, now we have to do something called a backwards pass, and this is going to calculate our late starts and late finish. The late finish of our last activity, H, is basically the early finish of the same activity. And for the last activity, in order to get your late finish, or I'm sorry, your late start for any of them, is the late finish minus your activity time, and that gives you your late start. And remember, your late start is the latest you can start, and your late finish is the latest you can finish the activity. However, for F and G, in order for F and G to get these values, you have to know the minimum late start of its preceding activity. So if we click on F, we can see that F equals, to get the late finish, let me clarify that. To get the late finish of an activity, you get the minimum of its preceding activity. So from here, we go the minimum of H, the minimum late start. So it's 42 because it only has one predecessor or its preceding activity, and it's 42. Same thing goes with G, it's 42. So if you think of it logically, the latest F can finish, or the latest that H can start, is the minimum latest that everything else can finish, the maximum latest that it can finish. So let's take E. As you can see, E is basically going to be the minimum late start of F and G, because it goes directly after F and G. So we're going to get the minimum. So this is basically going to tell me the latest I can finish activities E. The late start is basically the late finish minus the time, and you take this backward pass the same as we had, and you just keep going backwards until you get to A and B, to where you can get A and B's late start and late finish. It also helps do the arrows. So from the arrows, when you do your forward pass, you know where you have to go in order to get your times, and here you know where to go backwards to get your times. Now from there, you have what we like to call a finished graph. It's finished. You have your early start, your late start, your early finish, your late finish, but it's in days. You have your slack. Let me show you how to get your slack. Your slack is basically your late start minus your early start. So this is basically saying, do you really have to start on your early start? Do you have some leeway? And basically you just go equals your late start box minus your early start box, and that gives you your slack. Your critical path, or your critical activities, this basically tells you that there's no slack. It's imperative you start on time, and we basically do that by going equals. We're going to use the if function, and the if function uses a logical test. You're just basically going to tell it if this cell equals 0, comma, and you go the value if true, and you're going to go double quotation. I know I hit my double quote. There you go. And we're going to say if it's 0, you say yes. And if it's no, we're going to say blank, which is just 2 quotations back to back. And there we go. And then from there, to scroll down, it's okay to take this and just scroll all the way down. Okay. I can do a recalculate right now, but the numbers have changed, and I'll show you why, but I'm not going to. But if I was to recalculate, it'll change, and I'll show it later. So once you have your numbers and your numbers in your boxes, they don't really mean anything, they mean days. So down here, I made another little table where I start my AGH, and I had a project start date, and let's say I used November the 12th, 2012. And from here, from A, I made this equal to our project start date. I made that to my project start date because A and B, for the most part, can start on the same time. And I had our latest start, earliest finish, and latest finish. So all I did was just go equals the project start date, but on C and everything else, I did equals the start date, the project start, plus the time, the number that's in C's early start. And what I'm going to do here is protect this cell, and I'm going to highlight it, press F4, press enter, and then I'm just going to double click. If I double click, it'll go down and I'll have to recalculate, but I'll show that later because it'll just change the numbers. So if I do that, I end up getting all the start dates for the project. And here the same thing with the latest start. I basically go equals the project. So basically for all these, I'm going to use the project as my basis, or my base, and I'm going to add each number to its corresponding column cell. So from here I go project start date plus its late start, and there we go. Alright, and then I'll protect it from here. I'll protect it here, and then enter, and then I double click and it drags everything down. I press recalculate, it'll recalculate everything. Alright, so I do the same thing with early finish. I do the exact same thing. I take the project start date and then I add that to its corresponding table cell up here, and as you can see, it gives me dates. So I know that I can start on the 12th and I'll be done by January the 3rd of next year. Now this is all based on a time that I know for certain A is going to start, B is for certain going to start, H is for certain. However, that's not the case. You might not know. So what I'm going to do is add a random or simulate using random variables, or just a random function. And all I do is I'll recalculate this for you, is equal, and I'm going to do the average time, and I'm basically telling this, and I'm going to use norm inverse, because I'm basically getting a value based on a percentage or probability, and my probability is what's random. So I'm going to go rand. Alright, that's a function that creates a random percentage between 0 and 1. And my standard deviation, or my mean, I'm going to say 0, because I'm going to go plus or minus a number. So I'm going to go plus or minus 0, plus or minus 2. So my standard deviation is going to be 2. This is going to go, for the most part, your majority of your numbers are going to be within 0 to plus or minus, but there's a possibility you can have more, and that's what I want, because I want a normal distribution. But for the most part, 96% of everything is going to be between it's going to be between plus or minus 2. Alright, and from there I close everything off. Now I want integers instead of decimals, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to go round, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a round function and put 0, because I'm telling it I don't want any decimals, just an integer. And I'm going to press enter, and then from here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this box and I'm going to double click, and it's going to carry everything I did here down, and it's going to do references, cell references, so I don't have to change anything. And now all I do is hit F9, everything recalculates. So now, as I can see, everything adjusts. I'm just going to keep toggling F9. You can see everything changes. You can see how the error changes. You can see A goes 5 days, 3 days, 5, 3 days, vice versa. Oh, as I see here, this actually goes negative. So I can actually do another function here and go round, but do an if statement saying that it cannot be negative. If it's a negative value, then I want it to be such and such. But I'm not going to do with that now. But you do have the option to do an if statement that prevents negative values. So as you can see here, if I was to simulate my project and saying I give everything a plus or minus 2 days, as you can see, A has at do it realistic. At 5, it's a slack variable of 2. So if the time it takes was 5 days, you have a 2-day delay where you can basically delay it and there's no increase in your time. However, if I go 4, I have a smaller slack percentage. Let's see. And as you can see, if it was 5, if it's 5, then A becomes a critical activity. So if it took longer, 5 days, then for the most part, we have to start this on time, and there's no late start. So as you can see, everything's changed based on that error. 42 days, 51, 52, and our boxes change as well. And if we go down here, our dates change if we keep calculating. So we can finish on the 2nd, we can finish on the 3rd, or we can actually finish on the 29th. And if we go up here, for the most part, we see that we have a critical. If we just analyze when we simulate, we see for the most part if we can finish G on time and we can finish activity E in 3 days, then it helps significantly our time. That's about it. Oh, and I basically programmed these boxes for everything to work to where the early start for A, I made it equal to there, and I made late start of A equal to the corresponding box, and I did that for each and every one. So when I do recalculate, everything stays the same. So that takes a little time without programming to do, but it's worth it if you do a lot of projects because you can use the same template. Thank you for your time. Please leave me feedback. This is one of my second, third tutorials using Excel and operations research. And stay tuned. I will look at the comments and make any added suggestions. Thank you for listening.